Good afternoon, everyone. This is Conor here, and today I wanted to walk through the Templar class in Elder Scrolls Online. I've done this for the Sorcerer, and it seemed to be somewhat helpful for some people, so wanted to show the tune that I've been playing since the game launched. So, Templar. Templar is one of my favorite classes that I've at least come into contact with because it's unique in the sense of you can kind of play any role you want. Now I know Elder Scrolls preaches you can play any role you want with any character, but a sorcerer is never going to be a tank class. However, with the Templar, you really do have the ability to be a reasonable tank, a ranged or melee DPS, as well as a healer class just within your core skills. A lot of options for you. So I'll look at just the class-specific skills because those are the ones that are... Why are people talking around me?
May the doors of oblivion be flung wide.
No one's around me. Alright, so I'll start in the first spec, Adric Spear. This is the spec that I haven't gone much into myself. This is more the spec if you want to tank or do a lot more melee damage, or maybe even PvP. This is going to be a good area for you. It concentrates on AoE damage, keeping you alive, and a little bit more stun than some of the other specs. So the first skill you get, Puncturing Strikes, does kind of AoE damage to people in front of you, consecutive hits over time. Piercing Javelin, you hurl a spear at the person, deal some damage. That's kind of your range attack. Focus Charge, you can charge up to an enemy, so this gets you into close range quickly. Again, this is more the tank or the melee DPS class. Class. I always want to say spec. Spear Shards do some damage within an area, and then you can also interact with the skill as well to restore some stamina. And then your last skill that you get here in your main abilities is Sun Shield. When you activate it, it gives you like a shield, well, obviously, a shield that does 27% of your health at rank 1. And every time people attack you, you increase your strength over 6 seconds. So, again, it's a strength building class, a lot of hitting them with your sword and your shield, cool beans. Passive, let's see, first one, increase critical strike chance and a chance against blocked creatures. Increases block amount versus melee attacks by 7%. So again, looking at the block in a tank area. 25% no chance of any of your Adric Spear skills to deal additional damage. And then lastly, increases your weapon damage and spell resistance. So again, a lot of these are around keeping you alive, doing a lot of damage to a lot of things around you to keep that aggro on you. And then Radial Sweep, big AoE damage. So that's a nice one to pull people in. So that is your first class you can go with in a Templar. It's not for me. If I was going to do a tank class or a melee class, I would have just went with the Dragon Knight, but it's out there. So Dawn's Wrath enters into your first, kind of like a caster class, if you will. You can definitely spec into more of a Magicka build, and Dawn's Wrath is where you're going to want to play if that's the case. So this is your spellcaster, your ranged attack class. So the skills that you have and your active abilities, first, it's not actually Vampire's Bane. I've just been ranking things up, so I apologize. But your first skill, basically, it's a ranged attack, shoots a ball out, does some damage, and then does some additional damage over time. And then I added on this to slow the target when I shoot it at them for PvP reasons. The next one, Dark Flare, is really cool. This one you actually have to cast, well, both you have to cast, that then shoots down a pillar over at the enemy. And it does an insane amount of damage just right off the bat, but it also increases the damage that the target takes. And then I also put this on to reduce the healing that they get for, again, PvP reasons. But that's a great thing to start with, so they'll take more damage and then shoot out a Vampire's Bane. Backlash, it stores up damage that the target takes, and then once it ends, it'll deal like additional damage based on whatever rank it is. I haven't spec'd into this yet because most things I fight don't live 6 seconds. This is definitely amazing for boss battles. Again, I'm not in too many boss battles right now, so that's something I'll probably get later, but most things don't live 6 seconds. Eclipse. So you put this on a target, and as they're casting spells, it'll reflect the spell that they were casting on themselves. So it's kind of like Reflect, if you've heard of a spell like that, but instead of putting it on you and reflecting spells back, you put it on them. It's interesting, but it's there. And then Blinding Light, nearby enemies basically have a chance to miss for a short amount of time. So that's a really great one. If you have lots of people around you, shoot Blinding Light and you can kind of catch up on doing damage or healing or whatever needs to be done. Your passive abilities. Increases ability duration is your first one, which is nice, but I mean, when you max that out, that's going to be an additional 20%, and since most of your things only last for a couple of seconds, I don't know. Maybe it's worth it in the end, but it still seems just too little for me. Prism, I didn't really know what this does. I don't know what I thought. I thought like you got to use your ultimate twice in a row. Basically, whenever you use a skill in Dawn's Wrath, you get a little bit more ultimate points. Illuminate, spell resistance is increased if the player is attacked by your Dawn's Wrath ability, which is that first one, Vampire's Bane, right? Yeah. And then Restoring Spirit, it reduces ability, magicka, stamina, and ultimate cost by a blank %. That's a really good one that I will absolutely get once I get to that level. And then your ultimate is pretty cool. Solar Disturbance. It is a huge AoE that you can put anywhere on the ground around you. And while people are in it, enemies deal less damage, they take damage, and they're also snared. It's an amazing kind of pull out all the stops ultimate. I mean, most of them are, but I really like that one. Alright, and so then the last class you have is Restoring Light. This is your healing class, obviously. And I'll just dive right into it. So the first one that you have, Honor the Dead, this is it's an instant cast, which is nice, and it's a smart heal. So it'll go and find the most injured party member around you, and then heal them a pretty big chunk. And then if they're below health, I get a little bit extra healing. This is nice, but if you're just going solo, you know it's going to go on you, and it's a really powerful instant cast heal. It's a really good saver. But the fact that it's a smart heal, like most of the heals in the game, means that you don't have really a choice over who you're going to heal with it. So I actually don't run with it on my bar just because I don't have as much control. If I need the healing, but somebody else has lower health around me, in PvP, well, crap, now they get it, and then I die. Your second skill is probably my favorite. So basically you'll start to pray, and after a short 2-second cast time, it'll heal allies around you for a certain amount, and it's like an AoE heal that you can cast, and very, very beneficial. And it's really cheap too, as far as the different healing skills go. Repentance, this is really, really nice because it has a passive on it, which is one of the only that I know of. So when you keep it in your hotbar, you increase your passive health and stamina regen by a certain %. But then when you activate it, you basically overcharge your the people around you, so that health and stamina increase regen rate by like 500% for a short amount of time. Really, really nice. However, I spec'd into it that I can use it whenever I want. You could do that before, but it doesn't cost anything as long as there's a corpse around me. So now I can like take a corpse, basically like, I don't know, explode it or leverage it, and do some instant healing to people around me. So it's a nice kind of like end of battle, use it, doesn't cost anything, and gives you some health, allows you to keep going. Cleansing Ritual. So this will remove some sort of effect on you, and then also heal people around you over time as you're running around. But then allies within can also activate to cleanse themselves and get a little additional healing. So that's a really good party one, I'm sure. Rune Focus puts an area of protection on the ground that will increase your armor and spell resistance by a certain amount. Good for boss battles. Again, if you're going to be in one spot, it's awesome, but if you're going to be running around, probably not as beneficial. In the passives, Mending, which is great, it increases your critical strike chance on all of your healing abilities. And the critical strike chance increases more if they have fewer health. So the lower health they are, the higher chances to crit on them, which is honestly when you want a crit anyway. Focus Healing increases the healing power by a certain percentage to allies that are standing and kind of some of your AoE heals. That's nice, but most of my heals that I would be using as a Templar, I mean, there are a couple of them, but they're more situational for AoE. So, I mean, I'll probably get it, but it's not the best one here. Lightweaver increases the duration of your restoring aura. Healing ritual grants allies under 60% health, 1 ultimate, that's nice for them. And then gains a certain amount of armor and spell resistance when channeling Rite of Passage, which is your ultimate, and we'll get to that. That's I mean, it's a nice to have. I would obviously recommend getting that. And then Master Ritualist increases resurrection speed by 20%. Affected allies resurrect with 50% more health. And you have a 50% chance to gain a soul gem upon successful resurrect. This, I mean, most of the healing classes have something like this, and I absolutely recommend it. Unfortunately, that 50% chance to gain a soul gem does not increase with the next rank of this. But that basically means, like, every other resurrection is a free cast, and you'll get a soul gem. It won't be filled, so you'll have to fill that with one of your abilities. But that's, if you're going to be running a healer and you're going to have to resurrect people, oh my, I mean, that's just, I can't wait. That's going to be one of the best skills, passives, for me, once I start going kind of full healer. And then lastly, you have your ultimate Rite of Passage. This is a huge healing skill, obviously. It's going to be you channeling and healing everyone around you, basically, a lot. So it's really great if you're in a huge PvP battle or in a big boss battle. You don't have to do really a targeted area on the ground. It'll just be anyone around you running through will start to get healing. So it's fantastic, especially if you're in like a big Zerg. I mean, it's a good heal. So that's Templar. I figure I would run around and show you just some of the skills now, so feel free to drop if you got what you needed.
Greetings.
Alright, so this wolf is level 20, which is great because I'm 19, so it'll be comparable. So how I like to start off is with my kind of pillar in Dawn's Wrath, Dark Flare. I should really know these heals. So I like to start off with the Dark Flare because that increases the damage that they take. So then I'll follow that up really quickly with a Vampire's Bane, and then I'll actually charge in because I've been spec'd with a two-handed weapon to get as much damage as possible. Typically they're dead at that point. I might have to hit them once, but we'll see how this wolf does. So start with my flare, shoot out a wrath, and charge. He's dead. And I think I misspoke. The holy bolt thing. I forget what this is originally called, but this first skill is an instant cast. So you shoot your pillar up, and then you can follow it instantly with that little ball of energy. It's very, very powerful. Let's see if I can get one that'll live. Again, pillar, shoot thing, charge, dead. I mean, that's how life as the Templar has been. As soon as you unlock those first two skills in Dawn's Wrath, and then if you do get a charge or some other skill to follow it up on, you're golden. Okay, so we have an event going on here. I'm actually going to switch then into my healing spec. And live with it. Okay. And I saw I pulled in the green from that dead body. That was to use my the passive thing that uses the corpse to heal me and fight people. So it's just whenever something dies, I always throw it out there because it's a free heal that I might as well take. Helps everybody out. I replaced the praying holy skill because the restoration staff, in my opinion, has a better heal over time for cheaper mana. It's fun, but I'm gonna switch back into DPS. DPS is fun. We already have a healer, nobody seems to be dying. So I can show you the praying heal skill. So again, you to channel it a little bit, but then once you're done, then you scrub it. That, my friends, is the Templar. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. I appreciate it, and have a great weekend.